morning, and joining us now, Joe diGenova, legal analyst and former U.S. Attorney to the District of Columbia. Joe, how are you?
I'm great. Merry Christmas to everybody there.
Merry Christmas to you, too. Joe, I noticed a little chipperness in your voice. Is that because former FBI Director James Comey is expected to return today for more testimony before the House? Are you looking forward to it?
There's nothing worse than a smug liar. This guy is so pathetic and so tragic, but what he's done is so dangerous to the country. I'm delighted that they're interviewing him again under oath behind closed doors in a deposition, so there can be serious questioning. But he will continue to lie and continue to lie about forgetting. And there's just nothing we can do about that. I mean, this is America's dirty cop. He's returning to the scene of the crime. And he's a pathetic public figure who, regrettably, is viewed by many Americans as a stellar guy.
Well, speaking of Comey and his statements, I'm hoping Congress asks him a bit about this particular revelation. He had an interview that aired last week from New York City. Nicole Wallace, an NBC person, asking him questions about how two FBI agents ended up in the stateroom at the White House, and he responded that he sent them. And he said, quote, something I probably wouldn't have done or maybe gotten away with in a more organized investigation, a more organized administration, and suggesting that in prior administrations that he wouldn't have been able to, quote, get away with sending FBI agents to question the National Security Advisor. What is James Comey admitting to here?
Well, let's remember, this was the opening days of a new administration. Nobody's organized at that point, so that was just a typical Comey slur about them. But here's what really matters. What did the FBI know about General Flynn? They knew that he hadn't committed a crime. They knew that he hadn't colluded with Russians. How did they know that? Because they had listened to all the phone calls between the Russian ambassador and General Flynn and others. All of those calls were perfectly legal. Ask yourself, they knew that he didn't do anything wrong. Why did they go to interview him? They went to interview him because they needed to set up a pretextual crime so that they could get at President Trump. General Flynn has never done anything wrong relative to collusion or anything else. This example of illegal activity, which was created by Sally Yates created this phony Logan Act violation so they could go talk to Flynn. They knew exactly what Flynn had done, so why did they go? They went to frame him.
Yeah.
And if this conviction stands, American law enforcement will have reached its lowest point in 200 years.
Well, among the reasons General Flynn, the National Security Advisor, might not want to vocalize the full scale of his conversations with a guy like, say, Kislyak to two FBI agents who are asking him questions about it, is he's a guy who's worked in intelligence for many years, former DIA director. He's very familiar with a need-to-know requirement. He may have just been keeping information from these guys because they weren't entitled to it.
There's no question that that was probably part of it. But we do know that the agents themselves said that he showed no signs of deception. You can misspeak and not be lying. You can purposely withhold information to protect national security secrets and to protect your own security clearance. You're absolutely right. There's no doubt about that. But the ultimate question is, why did they do this? It had nothing to do with legitimate law enforcement or counterintelligence issues. They wanted to frame him. We can't get away from this.
Yeah.
This is the fundamental reason. Sally Yates created a false narrative about the Logan Act, and these people were sent there. Remember who was there. This was Strzok. McCabe sent them. Everybody knew what was going on. Comey authorized it. There had been no crimes committed. They knew that the dossier was a fake. They had never been able to verify it. This story gets worse and worse as it gets older. I am praying that Emmett Sullivan, after finding out over the weekend
the judge,
that the FBI did not turn over the 302s that he asked for, and that they erased the text messages of Strzok and Page from the special counsel's office, will start to decide that the Flynn case shocks the conscience of the court and should be dismissed.
So if the Flynn case is dismissed, and I was going to ask you that question, will he be absolved? You seem to think he will be absolved. What is the recourse here? This man has been destroyed. He had to sell his home. Will we see any kind of justice done with those who set this up?
Here's the problem for General Flynn and everybody else in this. As long as you have a Justice Department where Whitaker will do nothing and Rosenstein is in the camp of the Bureau trying to unseat the President of the United States, and let me underscore this, make no mistake about it, Rod Rosenstein is an enemy. He has decided that he's going to try and undo an election because he doesn't believe that Trump is worthy. He's with Comey on all of this. He admires them. He admires what they did. He was a party to discussing using the 25th Amendment to remove the President of the United States from office. We need Bill Barr as Attorney General, but regrettably, he won't come in there soon enough to prevent continuing damage to the presidency and to the president. What the FBI did and what Comey did and what Rosenstein did by appointing Mueller, whom he knew was totally conflicted out of this, and he too was conflicted, Rosenstein, was create a firestorm around the presidency in order to create an opportunity to remove a president. So far, Rosenstein and Mueller have succeeded. They've created a maelstrom around the president. They have denied him 2 years in office, and they're going to continue to do this up until the 2020 election. I have no idea when Mueller's going to end, and neither does anybody else.
The president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, former mayor of New York, saying over the weekend that there's just no chance the president actually sits down for a one-on-one with Bob Mueller. It'll be, quote, over my dead body. It looks like Trump's legal team has completely finished with any respect for Mueller or his process here.
They believe that Mueller is acting in bad faith, that Andrew Weissman is running this show, that just as Weissman framed Ted Stevens in Alaska and withheld exculpatory information from his trial, which would have exonerated him of any wrongdoing, they now do not trust. They did at the beginning. They don't trust Mueller anymore, and with good reason. Mueller has acted in violation of federal law, allowing the text messages of Strzok and Page from his office, the Office of Special Counsel, to be erased without telling anybody, without informing the court. If that were you or me, and we did that erasing of text messages, we would be indicted for obstruction of justice. But the truth is, no one is supervising Mueller. Underscore, no one is supervising Mueller. Whitaker is afraid to do anything. They've mouthed him into a corner. He can't, and Rosenstein is part of the plot. What a lovely Christmas time for the President of the United States. No wonder the President's mad. He should be mad as hell, and he has every right to be.
All right, Joe. Well, you didn't make me happy thinking that I'm going to get I'm going to get a pony for Christmas at all out of any of this. I'm kind of going to expecting underwear again.
It's going to get ugly in the new year, and it's going to be a lousy new year for all of us. Have a nice day.
Joe, Merry Christmas. Oh, thanks for joining us. All right, see, and you call me the pessimist? There you go. Joe just out-pessimisted me. 7:15.
It's going to be a lousy new year.